and today we are going to be discussing the topic of bullying. In recent news, 15-year-old Phoebe Prince was found hanging in her home, found by her two sisters due to 3 months of taunting and physical threats by fellow classmates. She was a victim of bullying.
Threatening text messages, knocking books out of her hand, throwing drinks at her, unwanted sexual encounters, and beating her up in the library were just a few of the things that Phoebe entailed. 6 of the classmates, ages 16 through 18, are now facing felony charges.
The shocking thing was, teachers and staff members of the school were very aware of the bullying that was going on, but never did anything to stop it.
Today we have our experts Sam and Nicole here to talk to us about bullying. How can we define it?
Bullying is unwanted, aggressive behavior among school-aged children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. The behavior is repeated or can be repeated over time. Kids who are both bullied and are the bulliers can have serious, lasting problems.
Are there different types of bullying?
There are 3 different types of bullying. The first type is verbal bullying, which is defined as saying or writing mean things about someone. This includes threats, teasing, name-calling, and inappropriate comments. Another form is physical bullying, which is considered hurting someone or their possessions. This includes spitting, punching, hitting, breaking, taking someone's stuff, kicking, pinching, pushing, and tripping. The last form is social bullying, which is defined as hurting someone's reputation or relationships. This includes rumors, leaving someone out, embarrassing someone, and saying you shouldn't be friends with them.
These 3 types of bullying start in preschool and become common in primary school.
So Miss Prince was 15 years old, which is an example of adolescent bullying. Are there any examples that could take place for younger age children?
Yes, it can start in early childhood with bullying aggression, which is done to dominate someone else. This is common in young kids and should be stopped before school age, where it can become a big issue. It impacts both the victim and the perpetrator. It impairs later development of bullies, where their bad behavior patterns follow them into adulthood and hurts their self-esteem of victims.
What is the next stage of bullying that can occur?
The next stage is middle childhood, which is perhaps the stage that bullying really starts to be seen. During this stage, those who are bullied are not being bullied for their appearance, but for their emotions or lack of emotional stability. The final stage that bullying occurs in is adolescence. This takes on any and all types of bullying already mentioned. During this stage, bullying is seen in middle school-aged children.
So obviously bullying has many causes, but for those who don't know, can we just name a few of these?
Yes, let's talk about the personalities of those who bully and those who are bullied. These kids that bully are usually very outgoing, socially confident, very little anxiety or guilt, thoughts that their own ideas are dominant and powerful, they view aggression as acceptable and realistic, and think that it'll be supported by their parents. Now, those who are bullied usually have the opposite type of personalities. They lack confidence in peer interactions, they lack self-assertive skills, they have poor handling skills of aggressive reactions, and they're anxiety-driven.
How are the parents and caretakers of these children involved?
That's a very good question. Home environment and parenting styles are very important factors when it comes to bullying. For an individual who is bullying, there is usually a lack of warmth in their families. There tends to be physical violence seen in the family. There is a lack of clear guidelines for behavior, and what seems to be a fight for power within the family and/or siblings. Now for the target of the bullier. They usually have overprotective parents and somewhat of a lack of involvement between the family.
We all know that there are a variety of consequences for the victims of bullying, but what about the bullies themselves?
Yes, there are multiple negative outcomes associated with bullying, not just for the victim, but for the bully as well. In the long term, it often leads to anxiety, depression, social withdrawal, delinquent behavior, and adult diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder.
Is there anything school districts need to do to help decrease the amount of bullying that occurs?
School districts are responsible for making sure their staff is educated so they can provide assistance in these situations. They also should provide education about bullying directly to the students, including effects of bullying, and target specific social skills to give kids the tools needed to defend themselves in case of bullying.
What can teachers do in the event of bullying?
As soon as educators realize bullying is occurring, they need to stop the incident immediately and make sure everyone is safe. They need to be prepared to do a follow-up after the incident by supporting the bullied student and consider consequences for those who bully. Educators need to make sure they don't use the working it out approach and need to intervene.
Most of the time, there are witnesses to bullying, and I'm sure many parents are wondering what they should advise their children to do.
There are a variety of things that witnesses could do when they see someone being bullied. This includes avoiding joining in or laughing, walking away, as some bullies are looking for attention, step in and tell the bully to stop and support the victim, and maybe, most importantly, getting an adult and letting them know what is happening.
Why is bullying so controversial today?
Not every school deals or tolerates with bullying. Some schools make excuses for the kids that partake in bullying. Some could say that schools don't want to ruin their reputations and that they would rather just turn and look the other way.
Are there any laws that protect the kids that are being bullied?
There are no federal laws against bullying, but there are state laws and policies. New Hampshire currently has 11 laws against bullying, and technically in New Hampshire, all teachers are required by law to report any bullying that they are aware of and are immune from potential liability issues.
How can we support the kids that are being bullied?
A victim of bullying just wants to be listened to. Listen to their problems and let them get all the information out that they want to say, even if they do struggle with talking about it. You need to assure the child that the bullying is not their fault. Give them advice on how to stand up to the bully and get the help that they need. Work together to resolve the situation and protect the bullied child.
So what could have been done differently in the case of Miss Prince?
For starters, with proper education, the bullies never would have started if they knew the repercussions they would receive. Teachers should have stepped in the very beginning when they knew the bullying was going on. If this incident happened years later, they would have been breaking laws and faced criminal charges, but laws were not put into place for each state until many years later. The school should have been proactive as opposed to reactive regarding implements put in place after the bullying incident occurred.
Fact is, bullying occurs in every nation, in every community, and in every kind of school, and perhaps in every child.
We hope this was beneficial in providing information on bullying awareness and how you can prevent it. Thank you and good night.